Boy Meets Girl is a pop music duo consisting of keyboardist and vocalist George Merrill and singer Shannon Rubicam. They're perhaps best known for their hit song Waiting for a Star to Fall from 1988 and for writing two of Whitney Houston's number one hits, How Will I Know and I Wanna Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me. And now, Boy Meets Girl have given How Will I Know a bubbly new twist in celebration of Whitney Houston's incredible career, a story that's being told in the forthcoming biopic, I Wanna Dance with Somebody. This brand new mix will be available as one of the bonus tracks on the vinyl release of their 2021 EP, 5. And George and Shannon are on the line with us here. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
There, Toby.
Toby,
Very
you
nice.
have got that going on. That was a great introduction.
It was. It's really great to meet you.
Yes, great to meet you too. So what made you want to do this remix of How Will I Know after all these years?
We were actually in George's studios some years ago, a few years ago anyway, and he was trying out some new equipment. So we thought, well, let's just record a silly version of How Will I Know because it is our song, and we could just play with it and try out the new equipment in the studio, and so we did. I think we just spent a day or two just playing really.
Everybody knows the song as Whitney Houston, that glorious, iconic voice, and we thought if and we were just messing around in the studio anyhow. Why don't we just go 180 degrees from that? Just a whole different direction. And so we musically we were thinking, well, it could just come out of the 60s like a
like a breezy, you're walking down the street snapping your fingers, that kind of more old
she
school
really
approach.
loves me. How will I know? So it's just kind of a wacky, we just kind of took our brains out of the current music that was going on and just we messed with it. And so we found an ultra pop band, Pizzicato 5, that we were inspired by, that was doing all these crazy drum tracks. We thought, okay, that could be the basis of it. A little taste of a UK band called Frou Frou at the time that we liked. And so we just we pieced it together, and Shannon did an awesome kind of breathy approach rather than trying to out-sing Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Don't bother trying to do that.
Yeah. I noticed that because it doesn't sound like Whitney Houston, and I mean this as a compliment, really. It sounds completely different.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we just did what we're able to do with it, and had some fun, and thought, well, let's just put it on the vinyl version, because we wanted to put a few new things that were just more quirky side of Boy Meets Girl. So we did that.
And here is the vinyl.
Well, hey.
And this is the brand new artwork we're quite proud of. And side 2, song 1, How Will I Know?
Nice. 20 years ago, did you ever think you'd be releasing an album on vinyl again?
I didn't. And so I gave away my turntable.
Wow.
And I no longer have those giant speakers. So now I have to get all those things again so I can play it at home.
Technology has vastly improved. Well, actually, a lot of times people are going back and finding the old amplifiers and stuff. But we had stored a lot of the old records, and and they were at my house, and so I started digging out the boxes. In fact, some of them are behind me here. And it's a lot of fun because Shannon and I, in the early days, when we were studying bands, when we were playing clubs or, whatever, we wanted to learn an Eagles song or a Fleetwood Mac song. We had to take apart the backing vocals and everything. And so we'd break out the album. That's what you had, at that time.
Because the lyrics were on it. Lyrics were often on the sleeve.
Yeah.
So you could, because there wasn't the internet. So you go and look on the sleeve.
Yeah. And so like liner notes, it's how we found out, oh my gosh, that's the bass player from Fleetwood Mac, oh man. And so you start to kind of, put all this together, when you then, for us, leaving Seattle and moved to Los Angeles, where a lot of those professional players lived, like we could, dial them up on a land phone, not a cell phone, and many times have them come in and play on your sessions and stuff. So
Wow.
we ended up learning so much from the back of those albums.
Yeah. Have you built up so many relationships over the years? Because obviously you've had the chance to write for not just Whitney Houston, but all sorts of incredible people.
I would say that we were not like strong networker kind of people when we lived in LA, but we did work with some wonderful players, like, a memorable demo session where we hired Waddy Wachtel, who he played on a lot of Stevie Nicks things, tons of people. Yeah. He was just the go-to guitar player. And when he walked in the studio and played on our songs, I was just blown away. It was so exciting. We didn't end up putting those songs on a record. I don't know why not, but it was such a pleasure. And some of these other, like Jay Graydon and
Jay Graydon,
such good players.
And just to see their professionality, just when coming in and, hey man, I'll do guitar on this, and you give him a chart of the music, and in the first run through, he's already playing light years above where you thought the song was. So now it's just gone into another realm. Yeah, it's just been such a thrill to have all these great players and singers be part of our music along the way. I mean, they're in essence, we are the band Boy Meets Girl. Yeah. So many of those players have become our friends and our band as well.
Yeah. And the original version of How Will I Know, how did that feel the first time you heard Whitney Houston's vocal on it, and maybe the first time you heard it on the radio?
Well, the first time we heard it ever was over, two landline receivers held up. One held up in the studio where our friends Preston and Alan Glass were helping Narda mix. Yeah. They called us up and held the phone up to the speakers. We held our landline receiver out so we could both hear it. And still, it was so powerful it restyled my hair.
Yeah, we didn't need a speakerphone. It was just Whitney's voice just came blazing out, and actually it was cool because that day was the day that she recorded the vocal that everybody hears around the world as the vocal for How Will I Know. Yeah. So we got the phone call at the end of the day. It was just sort of a rough mix that they threw together, but they wanted to play it for us, and life changed at that moment to be able to hear our song. We had done this demo, and everything like that, but how it had been interpreted was just so beyond anything we'd imagined before.
And when you heard that, did you think that's a hit, and not just a hit, but something that's going to be played for years and years later?
We certainly didn't think that. Like that. I don't know that you can. I think that probably a lot of singers and songwriters think, well, it's almost bad luck to think something like that. Yeah. I don't want to jinx this, but it definitely sounded like a hit. Yeah. It sounded like it had a whole bunch of potential, but I would never have guessed at its trajectory, and that still has legs now. Yeah. And that so many people are enjoying it, and it's being remixed and covered in all these various ways. Yeah. That continues to surprise me, and it delights me, of course. Yes.
Yeah, there aren't many songs that are intergenerational, really, where even young people today will know How Will I Know and I Want to Dance with Somebody. You can't say that about most songs from nearly 40 years ago.
Yeah. So I think it's hit the realm of being a classic, which is, again, that surprising and surreal. And we let go of feeling like that was our song, in that possessive way, the moment really that we sent it out to other people. So you've long ago let go of it. So when it comes around, that's the surprise factor, because I'll hear it in the grocery store or something. And I'll try to find an empty aisle so I can sing and dance.
It's true.
Looking like an idiot.
Do you ever find a person to go, I wrote that?
people that know me know that I kind of have that sort of jump up on the table, and I have that part of me. But I try to tame him somewhat, But I'll be in the grocery store, like, the music is playing our song, and most of the time I behave myself, But there are those times when I just can't stand it, and I go, I wrote that. But here's the funny thing is they look at me and I'm all schlumpy. I'm just walking. I'm just standing there in the grocery store line, and everybody goes, yeah.
Oh, I had that moment at the iPhone store, at the Apple store.
Oh.
Last year I had to get a new iPhone. And so when it was finally all set up and everything, the guy said, well, do you want to, he was showing me the music function. So he says, do you want a particular song played on this so you can just see how it sounds? I said, how about you play I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston? Because I wrote that. And he was sitting like, I could just see his thought bubble. You are an old lady. You did not write that song. Crazy, but I'll humor her. So
you crazy goose. But sure, we'll finish this phone transaction, and yeah.
Bye.
I know that was the reaction I got. So, I kind of shy away from it.
Now, of course, you're known for writing songs, but maybe people know you best for singing one of the songs you wrote, "Waiting for a Star to Fall," which is one of the catchiest songs ever written, isn't it?
Thank you, Toby. It's awfully nice of you. Thank you. Gee, I'm speechless at a time when I shouldn't be speechless.
Yeah, it's the worst time.
I can testify that it's catchy because when I used to be on Facebook, which I haven't been on for a long time, but I was, and there was this mountain climber guy, and he was an avid hiker and go out hiking for days, apparently, in Wyoming and Montana, it sounded like. And he introduced himself on Facebook by saying he'd been out for a hike, and it was a difficult one. And every step of the way, he was singing "Waiting for a Star to Fall."
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Got him through the hike, but then he wanted to get it out of his head, of course.
I bet he was sick of the song.
Yes,
at that point, yeah.
Okay, I finished the hike. Now get out of here.
Now he's traumatized. He's in the grocery store and that song comes on. He goes, ah!
I'd imagine it's quite a difficult song to sing because there's quite high notes in there. Can you still sing it now?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Toby. Actually, the key that it was in, I have a piano back here.
So we're getting a performance.
Let's see. So I was in. Okay, I wouldn't dare sing in that key anymore.
Yeah.
So if I were going to sing it now, I would probably bring it down a minor third. So I hear your name whispered on the wind. It's a sign that makes me cry. It works a lot better to me in that key. Waiting for the star to fall, carry your heart to my arms. That's where you belong, in my arms, baby, yeah. That works a lot better because it gets, I don't know if you could hear that, but it's just, if I try to do it in the other key, both Shannon and I, it's such a struggle to get up there.
Yeah, you'd have a sore throat for days.
Yes.
I remember when we were performing that back in the day, and even even if it was a video show and it was a sort of a lip sync sort of thing, we'd still be singing it, So we'd get to the end of it, and Shannon and I would look at each other, and I sang the heck out of that tonight. Nobody'd even know, because it was the lip sync. But I remember my voice getting really raw, like trying to sing that night after night. Not an easy song.
And no offense to Whitney Houston or Belinda Carlisle or whoever, but I think one of the things that makes that song so good is because it was done by you two. I mean, it's maybe difficult to tell. Who knows what it would have sounded if Whitney Houston had sung it, but I don't want another version. I want your version.
I like that. Thank you. And I think also, there's something to having a male singer sing that, because it's a pretty wistful song. And so there's that nice juxtaposition and really balancing of having a male singer sing it. I love it.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was really satisfying for us with the dream of being pop artists. With our band Boy Meets Girl, even though we'd been songwriters for hire that had been successful, it was really satisfying to be able to get out on a stage and have that song as the song that we're singing as Boy Meets Girl. So that whole era, and I mean it continues to be that way. I mean, I got a chance to sing it for you just now, so it's like
yes,
it's a one-hit wonder, I guess, in that regard. Yeah. But it's we're very proud of it.
It feels weird to describe yourself as a one-hit wonder, probably because people probably think of you as that, but you've written so many hits.
I've seen us described that way, but I think a lot of people, and maybe until recently, or maybe just now it's happening, are realizing that we wrote Waiting for a Star to Fall, and then also the Whitney Houston hits. I think that connection was kind of slow in coming, because I think for a long time, songwriters weren't really the thing. It was the artists. Yeah. So now, with the internet and Facebook, Twitter, and every kind of way to get to know somebody, and what all they do, that's more commonly known.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Back in the day, you had no Wikipedia or anything to know. It'd maybe say on the album who wrote the song, but if you were just listening to it on the radio, they'd never announce the writer, and that would be pretty rare.
That would be very rare,
yeah.
I want to talk to you briefly about The Muppets, because I should have known this, but you told me before I came on air something that I never knew. You wrote one of the songs from The Muppets at Walt Disney World, Knee Deep. How did you actually get that chance?
Oh, man, that was such an exciting and unexpected moment. Shannon, do you have the story?
We were recording our New Dream album, which didn't get released until many years later. But we were working with Phil Ramone. Phil Ramone was, he's since died, but he was just a blast to work with. So funny. We spent most of the time laughing.
That's true.
He was good friends with Jim Henson, who created the Muppets, of course. And Jim Henson was making this Muppet movie, and he was in a bind and needed a song for a particular scene. And so he called up Phil and said, do you have any writers that you can call on to get this to me? I just need it right away.
We stopped making the record. We stopped. We just stopped. Yeah. Wow. And started. I interrupted your story. We went off to lunch, and
Phil and George took off to lunch, and I said, I feel like I should stay here and just get these lyrics written. So I'm going to try and have them done before you get back.
Yeah.
And I drew on my mom's sense of humor. She had a corny sense of humor, but pretty funny. And so I kind of drew from that well to come up with these knee-deep lyrics, because they had to be somewhat ridiculous, but kind of sweet. Because Kermit is so heartfelt.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we wrote this song called Knee Deep. And by the time they came back from lunch, I had most of the lyrics written, and I just gave them over to George, and he started writing, and Phil was just kind of over the moon about how easy it was. And then we all, in the background of the recording, which we made either that day or the next day, we all, including Phil, got to do the ribbit,
Yeah. Actually, Phil did all the little extemporaneous deep that you'll hear in there. Ribbit. Yeah, he was part of all that stuff.
Don't pull the plugs. I like my mud to be knee deep. Let's cut the rug, catch some bugs, and get knee deep, knee deep. It was
you figured out a rhyme to snooze in the ooze whenever we choose, and
ribbit upon the log.
Ribbit upon the logs. Yeah, I mean, and it was great. It was truly, it was like a big page of lyrics. We pretty much came in and just kind of wrote the song.
And it sounds like you got the tone about right, because when you're writing songs for the Muppets, they have to be funny, but you don't want to overdo it. There has to be heart there as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah. and joyous. So that was really one of the high points of our career because it was unusual. I had so much fun.
When I think of the New Dream album, I think of because it got interrupted by that moment, but that song we should have put it on the album.
Yes,
it's because
maybe a B-side.
You can't really find the album actually, but might have been a lead-off single. But it was so cool to hear also when the whole Henson Productions had done Kermie singing the lead vocal and everything.
Yes.
I like my mud to be neat.
Is he here?
Yeah, it was so cool to hear all the characters actually singing the song.
Now, I mentioned right at the start that the Whitney Houston biopic, I Want to Dance with Somebody, is coming out next month. How proud does it make you feel that you've effectively came up with the name for that movie?
I feel like, is this real? Because it's still, like I said, we let those songs go, and they belong then to the performers and the fans, and they're out there having their own life that we have just about nothing to do with anymore. So it's really incredible. It's a huge honor that they decided to choose our title, and I can kind of feel what the emotional tie-in to that might be in the biopic story. But it is so cool, really. Our friends are already texting and calling us. And,
Yeah, it's a huge buzz. And, great calls from family. I just saw your name on the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been so much fun, to have this happen. And it sounds like everybody that is working on it, it's the crew that they were responsible for coming up with the telling the Bohemian Rhapsody story for Queen and Freddie Mercury, and I people feel differently, but I thought that was a really well told tale. It is it's a story. It's been reworked, but it's a celebration of the music. And what I'm hoping is that we'll get a chance to celebrate Whitney through her songs.
Yeah, and that she was the driving force of so much because she was just incredibly charismatic and talented.
Yeah, she was. And we get a chance to have that live on, through the audio recordings. I'm hoping that they really make a glamorous movie that people can turn to once in a while and go, oh yeah, here it all is, and it's like those comfort movies that we go to. I'm hoping it's a comfort movie for everybody regarding Whitney Houston. I think everybody would love to have that.
Does anybody play you two in the movie?
I doubt that. Songwriters are so
we're pretty low on the totem pole, I think.
We're in the background, and particularly with someone who shines so brightly as Whitney. She is obviously the focus. So but Clive Davis is being played by
Stanley Tucci.
Tucci.
Yeah.
That's a pretty perfect call, I would say.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you I can imagine Stanley Tucci really owning a Clive Davis character. It'll be fun to see the footage of it.
And I'm completely remiss in not knowing the name of the actress who's so bold and courageous as to play Whitney.
Yeah.
I don't know her name. And maybe you'll come up with it, Toby.
Naomi Ackie, it says.
Oh, that's it. Naomi Ackie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Naomi Ackie.
And she's an English actress, I believe.
Oh.
I think she is. Yeah. She's got a lot resting on her shoulders, really.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how it all goes, and I think it's probably well done.
Well, what else is coming up for you two? Have you got any more plans for more songs, albums, shows even?
We're in the midst of redoing our website right now. So there's like all those, bits and bobs and organization, the background stuff that, you have to stop and take care of. So it's about to go up sometime probably within the month. People will be able to see the new refreshed site. and then the holidays are going to happen. But the two of us are just looking toward January as our moment where we can get back there. There's a page of lyrics sitting there on the piano that I haven't been able to get to. Shannon plopped there, and they're back there.
Can't see them from here, so no spoilers.
But we've also got some thoughts about, the oral qualities, the sonics that we would like to experiment with. One being 12-string guitar. We'd like to see what kind of sonic background that might inspire for us. And thinking about topics that we might like to write about. So yeah, we're mostly excited about that because I think beyond any other thing, we're songwriters at heart. And we're recording artists in the studio mostly at heart and not really touring people,
Yeah. Anybody's welcome to visit us here. And, we'll sing we'll dash off a little waiting for a start of fall or something. Just call us up anytime, Toby. And
as long as you pay for the flights. I think it's really about, for us, that's where our joy has been derived through our career is the imagining and then the doing of a new song. So that's we can't wait till January. Yep. Well, the How Will I Know Martini Mix will be out on the 2nd of December, and of course the forthcoming biopic If I Want to Dance with Somebody, if you want to go and see it, is in cinemas on the 21st of December globally. But anyway, George and Shannon, thank you very much for coming on today. It's been fascinating to talk to you.
Thank you, Toby. You're fantastic. This was very fun. Anytime.
Yeah, it's been our pleasure, man.